Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is a presentation about the moonsighting system in Morocco, presented on behalf of wifaqululama.co.uk. Before we begin the actual presentation, special acknowledgement, thanks, and Jazakallahu khairan to Islamic Crescent Observation UK, ICO UK, run by engineer Qamaruddin from York. Their website is www.moonsighting.org.uk, Facebook moonsighting.org.uk, Twitter handle ICO UK. They sent a series of questions to the Ministry of Endowment and Islamic Affairs in Morocco, who responded to these answers in Arabic. The original link and the English translation is in the description of this video. Jazakallahu khairan for giving Wifaqul Ulama the permission to use the data. Why Morocco for Britain? What is the need for giving this presentation? Let me start by illustrating an example. When you go out to buy your meat, halal meat, being certified by HMC, for example, before you can trust a body, you need to understand who runs the body and what is the procedure for certifying that meat as halal. There are ulama in this country for decades who've been advocating following Morocco. Here's a fatwa from Fatawa Rahimiyya by Mufti Sayyid Abdul Rahim Lajpuri, Rahimahullah Ta'ala, Volume 7, Kitab al-Sawm, Book of Fasting. This question was put to the Mufti Sahib in the 70s by someone about following what to do about England and can Morocco be followed and how should that news be conveyed. Mufti Sahib responds in detail on page 213 that there need to be official links between the scholars, and Morocco, because it is the nearest Muslim country, should be followed by Muslims of Britain. This version was published around 1976. A large number of Muslims followed Morocco back then. A large number of Muslims today, in 2016, also follow Morocco for the start and finishing of their Islamic months. Logically, Morocco is the nearest Muslim country to Britain. It has either same or similar time zones, or if there is a time zone difference as it will be in the summer, it is just an hour. It has an established moon sighting system. This is what this presentation is all about. British scholars have official links with the ministry where the testimony of moon sighting is received. I will explain the difference between news and testimony later in this presentation. The news from Morocco is only used when the moon is not sighted in Britain on the 29th of an Islamic month. Some people assert that the moon cannot be sighted in UK. It is simply not true. We will just give two examples from 2016. This year, on February 9th, 2016, Jumadul Ula, the moon was sighted in Leicester. On April 8th, 2016, for Rajab, the moon was sighted in Croydon. This is 2016. So it is possible to sight the moon in Britain on the 29th. Once it's not sighted, the ulama receive official testimony, or official confirmed testimony rather, from Morocco, and then they make the decision. This was asserted in 1976 in this fatwa, and a large number of Muslims in this country, even today, follow Morocco, and this presentation is to make you aware of the system in place. On the Wifaqul Ulama website, wifaqululama.co.uk, click on Moonsighting. You can read frequently asked questions, scientific studies, and fatawa. After reviewing this presentation, reviewing the scientific studies, the fatawa, and reading the answers to the frequently asked questions, if you have any further questions, please feel free to contact Wifaqul Ulama. The email and contact information is on every single page, front and on all the articles included. Feel free to drop us a line. The source of this presentation are the answers from Ministry of Endowment and Islamic Affairs, Kingdom of Morocco. This is the letter with the original seal on it. Their website is habous.gov.uk. Facebook is MINISTERE.HABOUS. Twitter handle HABOUSMAROC. The moon sighting announcements, calculations, and decisions are announced on their website, on their Facebook page, and on Twitter. For information, Wifaqul Ulama and Batley Moon Sighting Committee do not base their decisions on information from social media. Official ministry facts with seal from the ministry is received every month by the ulama. However, the information for you is available on these sources. Please bear that in mind. So how is moon sighting organized in Morocco? How many places does moon sighting occur? On the left, I've given here is a map of Morocco. In 2010, the country was divided into 10 or 12 rather administrative regions. In 2016, there have been some changes and they now have 16 regions for moon sighting. So the entire country is divided into 16 regions. The names are right here. These 16 administrative regions are then divided into branches. The number of branches depends on the area of the administrative regions. Branches then have observational points. These observational points are where the observation actually takes place. These points are chosen according to topographic, geographic, and meteorological conditions for best sighting the hilal, for best sighting the moon. So in order for you to observe, you need to know where to observe from. So they have data where they look at the weather conditions, they look at what is the best place, height, and so on, clear out of the light pollution areas and so on, and they select the best observational points for this purpose. In total, they have around 278 points. So if I was to reflect that in a triangle, at the top of the triangle you have the central ministry making decisions, then you have regions, then you have branches, and a total of around 278 points where the actual sighting every month, 12 months out of the year, takes place. So how are these sightings coordinated across 278 locations? The Ministry of Islamic Affairs on the 28th of each Hijri month makes announcements for sighting, which is distributed throughout the national media, and circulars are sent to the various departments and to the regions and so on. So these announcements contain when the moon, if the moon is visible, the moonset, the sunset times, and how long it's visible after the sunset, and so on. At the observational point, at each of the 278 observational points on the day of sighting, a report is produced whether the moon is sighted or not sighted. Each member at that location signs the report and forwards it to the region. At each of the 16 regions are 2 judges. They review the report which is received. They now complete an additional legal report and they forward it to the Ministry of Islamic Affairs. At the Ministry of Islamic Affairs, officials and scholars make the decision. That decision of the testimony which has been confirmed is then conveyed to Wifaqul Ulama and Batley Moon Sighting Committee, ICO UK, in a fax, and then the ulama in Britain make the decision. The question was then asked, what is the experience of these people sighting at these 278 locations? To begin with, the Muslims participating in these sightings are practicing Muslims. The words used by the ministry as they are very religious. When a new member joins the team, the old members share their experience and information with the new members. There are regular courses at the university in Rabat about moon sighting. Imams and female scholars are trained in the moon sighting system. So this cycle continues to rejuvenate the teams as they grow based on the experience of the old members and training provided by the ministry itself. A large number of Muslims in Britain follow the Hanafi madhab. The implications of this fact is that when the horizons are clear, testimony of 1 or 2 people cannot be accepted. The moon has to be sighted by a large group of people when the skies are clear. Logically, this means that it is nearly impossible for a large group of people to get together, collude on a false testimony, and present it to an Islamic judge. It simply cannot happen. So this question was asked, how many witnesses come forward, or how many people actually testify to the sighting of the moon? The answer given by the ministry is the number of witnesses exceeds hundreds every month. They said, we have never felt the need to count them, but there are hundreds every month who affirm the testimony. So there's not one or two people who come forward, rather hundreds. The question was then asked, what happens when it's cloudy? Why is there a delay? The 278 observational points, they prepare their report signed by each member, and it's forwarded whether the moon is sighted or not sighted. The two judges at each region review the report again, whether it's cited or not cited. They then attach their own legal report to it and forward it to the ministry. If there's no sighting, the ministry waits for each report to come in from each of the 278 observational points. The farthest point, based on sunset, there could be a delay of up to 90 minutes, so the ministry waits until the last report is received for making the decision. The testimony is confirmed and verified at all these stages. The ministry makes the decision and then sends an official fax to the Wifaqul Ulama, Batley Moonsighting Committee and ICO UK, where the ulama in Britain then make their decision. So there could be a delay of up to 90 minutes until each observational point reports a negative sighting. So what happens when a positive report is received, i.e. that the moon is sighted? It is the same procedure. The 278 observational points, each member signs the report. The report is submitted to the regions. It is scrutinized at the regions by the two judges, which attach their legal report, and they forward it to the ministry. However, the ministry looks at the first positive report and announces the decision for the start of an Islamic month. It does not wait till the end. However, each report is still scrutinized, still reviewed, still archived for future use. The decision is then again relayed to the ulama in Britain, who make their decision. The question is then asked, what happens if you receive citing testimony against data? They replied, no citing claim is accepted when the astronomical calculations indicate impossibility of such a sighting. For example, the citing calculations say that the moon set at a given time before the sunset, so the moon is not there to be sighted. Can a testimony be received, and if it is it scrutinized? The answer is, for Morocco, it has never happened. Remember that there are hundreds of witnesses or hundreds of people trying to sight the moon. So they say such an occasion has never occurred, but we're not going to accept a claim which is impossible. They never had to put this in practice because this incident has never occurred. So why is it important for you to understand the decision of the British scholars? There is a difference between news and testimony. News can be received from any media, be it social media, print media, online media, or your TV or radio. Testimony is a legal entity. The ulama base their decisions on the start or finishing of an Islamic month on testimony. Either they receive this testimony directly, or they receive this testimony directly from the ulama who affirm and have checked this testimony. In the case of Morocco, the British scholars received their testimony directly from the ministry, which comes with the seal of the ministry as an official fax. The testimony is not taken from the social media, not taken from TV stations or satellite or radio stations, and so on and so forth. Based on this presentation and several scientific studies on Wifaqul Ulama's website, you have some idea of how the decision is reached to you as the consumer. If your mosque or your community is not following the system, you have a right to know how your fasting is being organized. You need to know, you have a right to know. If you have any questions, feel free to drop Wifaqul Ulama an email on any further queries. But if you're not following your nearest Muslim country or you're not following Morocco, you have a right to know how that testimony is conveyed to you 12 months out of the year, not just Ramadan, Eid, and Eid al-Adha. The links with Morocco have always been there, as I've quoted you the 1976 fatwa. In the last 10 to 15 years, they have been formalized. www.central-mosque.com. For the past over 15 years, you get to hear the news of moonsighting from around the world. wifaqululama.co.uk for the last 10 years, moonsighting.org.uk for the last 15 years globally, and then in Britain. Every month, 12 months out of the year, the information is conveyed to you via the Twitter handle Wifaqul Ulama or ICO UK, hashtags Ramadan, you have Facebook page, and so on. Any questions, please drop us a line. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.